My name is Michael Anderson, and today I want to tell you about my day as a business professional. I arrived at my company this morning at exactly 8:30. The moment I walked through the glass doors of the building, I felt the familiar rhythm of business life starting again. The receptionist greeted me with a smile and said, "Good morning, Mr. Anderson." I smiled back, nodded politely, and headed straight to the elevator. Inside the elevator, I quickly checked my phone for any urgent emails. The first thing I saw was an email marked high priority from one of our clients in Germany. I thought to myself, this is going to be an important part of my day. When I reached the 7th floor, where our offices are located, I stepped out and walked into the open office space. The sound of phones ringing, keyboards clicking, and people talking quietly filled the air. As I put down my briefcase on my desk, one of my colleagues, Sarah, came over and said, "Michael, we need to talk about the presentation for the new project." I looked at her and said, "Of course, Sarah. Let's sit down in the meeting room in 15 minutes. Please prepare the slides and the latest financial data." She nodded and went back to her desk. I took a moment to log into my computer and go through my inbox more carefully. Emails are such an important part of business communication, and I try to keep my answers clear, polite, and professional. I replied to the urgent email from Germany saying, "Thank you for your message. I will review the documents and get back to you by the end of the day." Then I replied to a few internal messages from my team, approving some budgets and scheduling a call with our partners in the United States. At 9 o'clock sharp, I walked into the meeting room with Sarah. She had already connected her laptop to the screen and was ready to show me the presentation. I said, "Good preparation, Sarah. Let's go through this step by step." As she presented the slides, I asked questions like, "What is the estimated cost of this campaign?" And "How do we expect the client to react to this proposal?" We discussed the strengths and weaknesses of the plan, and I suggested a few adjustments to make it more convincing. After 30 minutes, we agreed on the final version. I told her, "Excellent job. Send me the updated slides by noon, and I will present them to the client later today." She smiled and said, "Will do." When I returned to my desk, I found my assistant, David, waiting for me with my schedule for the day. He said, "Michael, you have a conference call with the New York office at 10, followed by a meeting with the finance department at 11. Then lunch with Mr. Thompson from the investment group at 12:30. I nodded and said, "Thank you, David. Please also remind me to call back Mr. Roberts from London in the afternoon. It's urgent." David wrote it down in my calendar and left. At 10 o'clock, I joined the conference call with our New York team. The call was about the expansion of our services in the U.S. market. I put on my headset and said, "Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?" A voice answered, "Yes, Michael, we can hear you." The meeting started with a short update from the marketing manager. Then I shared our European perspective. I explained, "Our strategy is to focus on long-term partnerships, not just quick profits. We want to build trust with our clients." The call lasted 40 minutes, and by the end, we had a clear action plan. I closed the meeting by saying, "Thank you, everyone. Let's follow up with an email summary by tomorrow." After that, I quickly walked to the finance department. The meeting there was about our quarterly budget. Numbers are not always exciting, but they are critical for the success of any business. I sat down with the finance manager, Lisa, and her team. She said, "Michael, we need to cut costs in some areas. Travel expenses have been too high." I listened carefully and replied, "Yes, I agree. Let's reduce unnecessary trips, but let's not cut costs that will damage our relationships with clients." We reviewed the spreadsheets together and made some decisions. It was not easy, but it was necessary. When we finished, Lisa said, "Thanks for your leadership on this, Michael." I answered, It's teamwork, Lisa. We all share the responsibility. At 12:30, I met Mr. Thompson, the investment partner, at a restaurant near our office. Business lunches are very common, and they are both social and professional. As we sat down, I said, "It's nice to see you again, Mr. Thompson. How is your portfolio performing this year?" He smiled and replied, "Quite well, but I am interested in your new project. Tell me more about it." Over lunch, we discussed opportunities, risks, and timelines. I used simple but professional language. Our value proposition is strong. We are looking for strategic investors, and we aim for sustainable growth. By the end of the meal, he seemed very interested in supporting us. I paid the bill, thanked him for his time, and promised to send him a detailed proposal next week. When I came back to the office, it was already 2 o'clock. I had a short coffee break with a few colleagues. During these informal conversations, I try to build good relationships. We laughed a little, talked about sports, and then returned to work. After the break, I sat at my desk and focused on reviewing the client contracts. Reading contracts requires attention to detail, and I made some notes about terms and conditions that needed clarification. Then I dictated a short memo to David, asking him to schedule a call with our legal department. Around 3 o'clock, I received a phone call from Mr. Roberts in London. He sounded a bit stressed. "Michael, we have a problem with the shipment. The goods are delayed at customs." I listened carefully and replied, "I understand. Don't worry, we will handle it. Please send me all the documents, and I will coordinate with our logistics partner." After the call, I immediately wrote an email to our logistics manager, asking him to take urgent action. Problems like this happen often in business, but the important thing is to stay calm and find solutions. At 4 o'clock, I had another internal meeting with the marketing team. They wanted to brainstorm ideas for a new campaign. We sat in a circle and shared ideas freely. I said, "Remember, no idea is too small. Let's think creatively." Some ideas were not realistic, but others were excellent. I encouraged the team by saying, "Great thinking. Let's explore that further." Motivation is very important for keeping a team productive. The afternoon moved on. I spent some quiet time writing a report for the board of directors. In the report, I summarized our activities, achievements, and challenges. I tried to use clear and professional language, like our key performance indicators show steady growth, and the main risk factor is market volatility. Writing reports is not always exciting, but it is necessary to keep everyone informed. By 6 o'clock, most of my colleagues had already left the office. I stayed a bit longer to finish my tasks. I looked out of the window and saw the city lights starting to shine. I thought about the day, the meetings, the decisions, the problems, and the solutions. Every day in business is full of challenges, but also full of opportunities. I felt satisfied with what we had achieved today. Finally, I closed my laptop, packed my briefcase, and got ready to leave. Before I walked out of the office, I thought about something very important that I wanted to share with you. Learning English for business is not only about reading books or memorizing vocabulary. It is about listening, repeating, and practicing. My advice to you is simple. Listen to English every day, repeat the phrases you hear, and practice shadowing. Shadowing means listening to a sentence and speaking it at the same time, almost like an echo. This technique will help you improve your pronunciation, your fluency, and your confidence. If you do this every day, little by little, you will see great progress. So, this was my business day, and this is my advice for you. Remember, listen, repeat, shadow, and never give up.
Business English vocabulary.
High priority means something very important and urgent. Example: this task is a high priority, so we must complete it today. Financial data means information about money, budgets, or costs. Example: the accountant presented the financial data for last month. Slides means pages in a presentation, usually in PowerPoint. Example: the slides show our sales growth over the past year. Proposal means a formal suggestion or plan. Example: we sent a proposal to the client for the new project. Action plan means a clear list of steps to achieve a goal. Example: the manager asked us to prepare an action plan for reducing costs. Budget means a plan for how to spend money. Example: our budget for marketing is limited this year. Quarterly means happening every 3 months. Example: we have a quarterly meeting to review company performance. Expenses means money spent for business activities. Example: travel expenses must be approved by the finance team. Portfolio means a collection of investments or projects. Example: she manages a portfolio of technology startups. Value proposition means the main reason why a product or service is valuable for a client. Example: our value proposition is faster delivery than competitors. Sustainable growth means business growth that can continue over time. Example: the company is focusing on sustainable growth, not quick profits. Contract means a formal written agreement. Example: we signed a contract with a new supplier. Terms and conditions means the rules written in a contract. Example: please read the terms and conditions before signing. Logistics means the management of shipping, transport, and delivery. Example: our logistics team handles all international deliveries. Shipment means goods being transported. Example: the shipment of goods will arrive tomorrow. Customs means the official place at the border where goods are checked. Example: the shipment is delayed at customs. Brainstorm means to create many ideas quickly, usually in a group. Example: let's brainstorm ideas for the new advertisement. Motivation means the energy or reason to do something. Example: her motivation comes from achieving personal goals. Key performance indicators means important numbers used to measure success. Example: customer satisfaction is one of our key performance indicators. Market volatility means when the market changes quickly and unpredictably. Example: investors are worried about market volatility this quarter. Board of directors means a group of people who make high-level decisions in a company. Example: the board of directors approved the new strategy. Conference call means a phone or video call with several participants. Example: we have a conference call with the New York office at 5 p.m. Memo means a short written note for internal communication. Example: The HR department sent a memo about the new rules.